Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, did you know that 5 years ago, my friend Ty, he came in first place in the Beijing Marathon, but he still hasn't gotten his medal. Beijing refuses to acknowledge Taiwan. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at my top 10 games set in Asia.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and take a look at my top 10 games set in Asia, games that have an Asian theme. I'm looking at the Asian continent, which is massive, some of the islands off of Asia. I'm going to include in here. So we're going to go ahead and go. First of all, I do want to give one honorable mention, and that is Rising Sun. Rising Sun from Kaman, a great game of monsters and negotiation and battles. Really a lot of fun. But now I'm going to go ahead and check into my top 10 list. Number 10 is a block war game from GMT Games, and this is Sekigahara. So this takes place in Japan, feudal Japan, samurai. This is a really fun game. You're using, of course, cards and blocks. Block war game, not a traditional block war game where you're manipulating the steps, but essentially you're kind of moving around. You've got limited resources, limited ways you can move. There's a lot of bluffing that takes place in this game, but it's a good, solid war game that really has some unusual and different mechanics in it, and I enjoy it quite a bit. This is number 10, Sekigahara, and that is from GMT Games. My number 9 is a game that, gosh, I want to say this initially came out in 2005 or so it's nearly 20 years old. But this is a game of really following paths. This is Tesoro. You can even put Tesoro of the Sea on here. But these are games, of course, you've got tiles, you're placing the tiles, and you're kind of moving along the paths in this game. And you're trying to get kind of, get people out and get them off the board, your enemies. And it is just tremendous fun. Like I say, you've got the original Tesoro of the Sea. You're kind of in seas. There's a few different little rules, but these are great games. They're not terribly hard, but they got the great kind of Japanese theming to it, and they are filled with great moments. They're filled with laughs. You're just itching. Okay, where's this path going to take me? What's this path going to do? Really a lot of fun. So that is number 9. That is Tesoro. That's from Calliope Games. My number 8 takes place in Siberia, and it's a game that just came out last year. This is Expeditions from Stone Mare Games. In Expeditions, of course, you've got the kind of steampunk theme. You're moving units into kind of exploring these tiles. You've got these spaces in between the tiles for cards, so you can purchase the cards. But on your turn, there are different actions you can take. You can take a card action, you can take a movement action, and you have this cube you place on one of the 3 actions, so you can't take that action. You can take the other 2. But then every so many turns or so, you kind of reset in which you can take all 3 actions. It's really a lot of fun. It's actually got a really good solo mode too. It's a fun. I played it with 2-player with solo. I might play 3. I don't know that I want to play more than that. I don't think, from what I've heard, it doesn't scale really well, and I don't feel like it would. But I really enjoyed this game quite a bit. Again, it's the sequel to Scythe. So it's got a lot of Scythe DNA, although it's very much a different game. In fact, I might like this one better than Scythe. So that is Expeditions. That is from Stone Mare Games, and that is my number 8. My number 7 is one that kind of deals with more kind of modern politics. This is Flashpoint South China Sea. And in Flashpoint South China Sea, essentially, you've got kind of the Americans, you've got the Chinese, and they're kind of competing over the different islands and areas just off the coast of China. This is a kind of an area control game, but it is also, very much about the card play. It too has a solo mode. I play the solo mode. I like the solo mode okay, but I prefer playing this one against an opponent. I like it because it's not too long. It's not, incredibly long game, but it has some really tough choices and some really good strategies develop out of this one. So this is Flashpoint, South China Sea. This is my number 7. This is from GMT Games. My number 6 is a game I played here not too long ago for the first time, and this is Vijayanagara. Now, Vijayanagara was it the Deccan kingdoms of Middle Ages India? Vijayanagara is essentially a coin game. Now, I've heard people say it's not quite a coin game, but I haven't played enough coin games to know the difference. But essentially, you've got three different kingdoms that are trying to, well, you got two kingdoms that are in rebellion, trying to spread. You got one that's trying to kind of clamp down on everybody, but they're having to deal with Mongol invasions too. But on your turn, you can take several different actions. You've got this kind of action selection place on the board where you can take some powerful actions, but then you don't get it. You don't get a move the next turn at all. You don't get to do anything the next turn at all. Or you can take weaker actions and do something, or you can take a card event action. Most of the card event actions won't let you take another turn the next turn, but some of them do allow you to reset. And so you've got some really great choices about what you want to do. And you look at your action card, and there's different sorts of actions you can take on your action card. And then again, if you take the more powerful action, you can take these other kind of sub actions too. And it plays out really well. And it's very interesting to see how you are expanding and how other people are trying to counter your expansion. But you're also trying to gain resources. You are trying to um, uh, like I say, gain territory. It's just really, really fun. Also, too, certain cards come up, and the revolting kingdoms can also essentially, by proxy, play the Mongols, and they can take actions for the Mongols trying to attack the larger kingdom there. It's great fun, very interesting puzzle, a great game, Vijayanagara. That is from GMT Games, and that is my number 6. My number 5 is a much, much simpler game, and it's a great lighter game. It's a great game to teach people who are not into some big, epic, heavy game, but still want to have a really fun and engaging experience. This is Machikaro. Machikaro was originally from IDW Games. I don't know if anybody has got it right now, but Machikaro is great because you're building a city, you're building a town, and you're playing cards to build up your town, but your cards have different colors and numbers associated with them. And when people, on your turn, you roll the die. And whatever the die roll is, it affects kind of everyone. It may affect the person who's rolling the die a little bit differently, but everyone can look at their cards and see, oh, on that die roll, I get something here, and you're getting coins. You're trying to build up. You're trying to build up certain areas of your town, like certain monumental buildings, and the first one to complete all their monumental buildings wins the game. But I like it because it's got that kind of Catan idea of somebody rolling the die, and depending on what somebody rolled, everybody gets something out of it. So everybody's always paying attention, even when it's not your turn. Now, Space Base does the same thing, and I think Space Base does a little better. I played a lot more Space Base than I have Machikaro, but I really do like Machikaro, and it's one I would like to visit again. So that is Machikaro, and that was from IDW Games. And my number 4 is a game that I've probably had in my collection about 30 years, and I used to play it a ton. I haven't. I'm probably not exaggerating when I say I haven't played it in 20 years, but I don't see it leaving my collection. I actually would like to play it again sometime. This is Colonial Diplomacy. Now, if you're familiar with Diplomacy, this is essentially the same game as Diplomacy, but it's set in Asia. And you have the different colonial powers and the Chinese who are vying for territories here. And it plays just the same as Diplomacy. So you go into rooms, you negotiate with individuals, you come back, you write your order simultaneously, and you see who backstabs who. It is great fun. Like I say, we played this, back in the day, the late 90s. My friends, we would take turns playing regular Diplomacy and Colonial Diplomacy, and we just had a blast. This is a tremendously fun game. I really enjoy it, and I got to get to the table again some point. I got to. That is Colonial Diplomacy. That was from Avalon Hill, and that is my number 4. My number 3 is part of a larger family of games, and I'm a big fan of every game in this series that I played. This is, I think, the latest core game that has been released with this title, and this is Commands and Colors Samurai Battles. Now, Samurai Battles is great. Of course, you've got the 3 different sections of the board. You're playing cards to activate different areas of the board at different times, to activate units that can then move and attack. You're rolling dice. You're trying to take out your enemy. But this also has some very cool cards. I can't remember what they're called. I think dragon cards or something like that, that give you kind of special powers and special abilities as well during the game. But it's got a lot of different scenarios, looking at about like the 1600s or so. And you're fighting here in feudal Japan with your units, and you got these special power cards. and it's just great fun. Every Commands and Colors game is awesome, and frankly, this is one of the best. I really, really enjoy Commands and Colors Samurai Battles. That is number 3. That is from GMT Games. So my number 2 game is a game that I played for the first time not too long ago. It's the second game in a series. I love the first game in the series. I may like this one a little bit better. This is Manila: The Savage Streets 1945 from Revolution Games. Now, in this game, you are the American Army investing Manila in 1945, and the Japanese are holding out in the city. And how this game works is you've got, of course, a number of units, but the Japanese there's different territory. There's fortresses, there's clear areas, and there's kind of urban areas. And what you do is you place an appropriate Japanese counter in every one of those. So when you move American forces in there, you flip the counter, and something bad happens. There's some kind of ambush or artillery barrage or sniper or something there that takes an immediate effect. It's like an event that happens. There's an immediate effect you got to resolve. But it's also got a number on it. You combine that number with the number on the terrain, and then you've got to beat that number. You've got your lead unit. You can use its full strength, and then every other unit just contributes 1. But then you can also buy support. You can buy air power. You can buy artillery. You can buy engineers, and that increases your the numbers that you can go. You also get numbers for like high morale, combined arms, and so you add up all your numbers. You each roll die. You roll die for the Japanese. You roll die for the Americans. Whichever one has the higher number wins that battle. But it is tough because there's a lot of territories you got to take. You got to take virtually all of them to win the game. It is a fantastic game. The first game of the series was Stalingrad Advance to the Volga, 1942, which was awesome. Same system. Here it's even better, and they've even got a chart here to keep track of the numbers, which they didn't in the first game. Love, love, love Manila: The Savage Streets 1945. Awesome war game. Awesome solitaire game. It is a solitaire game. I got to point that out. It is fantastic. So anyway, that is Manila: The Savage Streets 1945, number 2, and that is from Revolution Games. All right, my number 1 game set in Asia. I love this game. It's a simple game. It's a silly game, but it is good, and there's a lot of variety there. This is Trains. Trains is a great deck building board game. Essentially, you're building trains from city to city there in Japan, but as you're playing it, you're taking pollution, or not pollution, but I can't remember the name of the card, but it like gums up the works. You're taking a lot of these cards, but you're buying different cards that allow you to do different things and build different structures and complete your tracks. And it is so much fun. I've got a friend of mine actually bought me years ago Trains Rising Sun. I still haven't gotten that one to the table. I feel so bad, but I love, love, love the original Trains. I think it is such a good game, such an interesting and fun and clever system, and I really like it. Every time I played it, I've had a ball. I remember I got this game not long before I moved to Texas, and it had already been around for years, and I was kind of late to the party. And I played it, and it blew me away. I played it in Texas a few times. It blew me away. I don't know that I played it since I left Texas. Yikes. This is one I want Kim to play because I think she will get a huge kick out of it. She loves deck builders. Fantastic game. Fantastic game. So that is my number 1 game set in Asia. That is Trains, and that is from AEG. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me know, what are your favorite games set in Asia? I'm very interested. There's no shortage of them. There's actually a lot of games that I was thinking about, but I thought, I just don't know that they're top 10. I suppose I could have given them an honorable mention, but there's no shortage of great games set in Asia. So let me know, what do you think? What are your favorite games set in Asia? What do you think of the games on my list? I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. As always, please, please, please like us on Facebook, like us here, like this video, and subscribe to us here on YouTube. We really appreciate it. And follow us on Twitter. Again, leave comments for us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We love to hear from you. And also, please check out my other channel, Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history, books on history, and I post some of my lectures on there. Please subscribe to that channel. It really would mean a lot to me to see you subscribe. Also, too, I'll probably post this on Board Game Geek. Please give a thumb to the video there. And also, too, if you really do enjoy the stuff we bring you, the content we bring you here on YouTube, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. Say, did you hear that panda bears were rioting in the streets of Beijing today? It was pandemonium.